Can you guys introduce Mommy?
Spill the beans with Dr. Jill.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Spill the Beans with Dr. Jill. I have something, special to share, as I say every episode, someone, special to share with you. But what's really cool about this participant is that she has seen my workshop not once, but twice. And so I think she's going to be able to bring a really different level of experience to share with you. But I want to open the door so she can introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Cristalyn Vargas. I currently work at Southern Connecticut State University within the School of Nursing as a student engagement specialist. I've worked in higher ed for over 10 years now. I've done residence life work, I've done admissions work, and now I'm in a more student support retention type of role.
Very excited to see you and have you here today. So we first got connected when I did a workshop for the system,
Mhm.
CSU, and I believe it was hosted at Gateway,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And that was really fun because that was for, I think, like a 3 hour type experience, professional development with a bunch of different individuals
Yeah.
from around the CSUs came, and I was able to share some gems. And then I believe you reached out to me afterwards and said, "Can you come to Southern?" And I said,
Mhm.
"Of course."
Yeah.
Tell me, what did you think was important for your team to hear and see at that point?
So I was at another institution when I did the first session, and for me that was more of a it was professional development for sure, but I think I also needed it personally as well. And so when I came to my next position, I wanted to be in a position and in a place that really valued wellness, especially with employees, which you don't hear a lot about in higher education. You hear about it with students, but not so much with professionals like faculty and staff. So when I got here, I felt like I was really in a space where I was supported as a professional, but also my wellness, my mental well-being overall. And so I felt like it was a very safe space to come up with ideas
Mhm.
and see how I can help my colleagues. And so after going through your workshop, I was like, this would be great, especially with me working in nursing and a lot of the faculty here still practice and within the College of Health and Human Services, you still have people who are practitioners. So
Mhm.
they go through a lot. They have clients, they have patients that they still see. So I thought this would be great to bring to at least as professional development. Even, one day I hope that students can get it as well because nursing students are going to go through a lot, especially when it comes to this topic. So I thought it was important to at least try to share, what I learned,
Mhm.
and so that they could integrate it in their roles here.
Did you ever hear about vicarious trauma before my workshop?
Never.
Isn't that amazing? Because you've been in higher ed for a long time.
Hmm.
What was like something that you had? I know that you had a bunch of ahas, and you were there kind of absorbing it for yourself as well as like, what can I give to others? But what was something that really stuck with you even to this day?
With the workshop,
Hmm.
I think it's just how important it is to take care of yourself and to allow yourself to feel. I feel like in a lot of our roles, we're just taught to take care of our students.
Yeah.
But I always say it's a trickle down effect. If we are not in a good place, then it is going to trickle down to our students. So the more taken care of we are, the more we are in a better place to take care of our students. So it kind of like gave me like permission to feel. I feel like I always had to put my feelings to the side or deal with it on my own.
Hmm.
And so it was more about learning this is what this is what you're feeling. Now, how do you manage this? So that was like really nice to hear and to learn about so that I can be like, okay, yeah, I was feeling that. And that's
Hmm.
okay to feel like it's natural. Now let's learn how to manage it so that you can learn how to deal with this as you go on through your career.
Yeah. Why do you think so many of us are not taught about vicarious trauma, and yet we're in these roles where we have to nurture the students and have a lot of empathy? Why do you think that is?
Because we're taught to be student-centered. I
Mm.
feel like in a lot of higher ed, student-centered is such a big term that you hear, that it's like it's all about the students, all about the students. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, but let's think about who's providing those services to those students and how they're doing. So
Yeah.
I feel like higher education needs to just be a person-centered field in terms of everyone matters. Yes, we are here to service students, but we also need to make sure that we are, I feel like I'm going to harp on this throughout our whole conversation. Like, I really did not learn, I really did not understand what how important like faculty and staff wellness was until I went through a rough position and I saw how important it really was. And now being in my role here and seeing how much like we're taken care of within at least the college that I'm in,
Mhm.
I'm like, this is what it should be like, making sure that we're good. So, but I think, yeah, that's the driving force is that it's all about being student centered
Yeah.
and forgetting about who's actually providing those services.
And I think one of the things that we talk about in the workshop is how you can do both, right? Like you
Hmm.
can realize that students in higher ed are our product, they're our customer, but that it does start at the top. And I love how you said it's a trickle down, you know?
Hmm.
With that being said, is there any daily ritual or takeaway that you're doing to manage your vicarious trauma?
Um, I feel like I always do my best to leave everything at work.
Mm,
That means even if it's talking to a colleague about how my day's going so we can like go back and forth to each other, even though that's now vicarious trauma on them. But also checking in like, we're really like we work really well together here in my school. And so I feel like I know if someone's having a bad day. So I just know not to like dump onto them if I need to. But when I know I can't leave stuff at work and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get over this before I get home. I
mhm.
don't go home. I do something, whether that's like go for like for me, I love driving. So either would go through a drive in the back roads or like go get ice cream or something.
Yeah.
But I just know I know to recognize it and to leave it and just talk about it. Like just don't hold it in either.
Right. And I think one of the other takeaways that I try to express during the workshop is those protective factors that you can do, sharing with someone that you
Mhm.
care, sharing with, a therapist or a friend, and sharing with a mentee or mentor. Because when you share with a mentee, you fall in love with your job all over again, right?
Mhm.
Like you're only sharing the positive things.
Yeah.
And when you're sharing with a mentor, you're really using them as a sounding board. So it's kind of, you get the best of both worlds to be able to fall back into your love and be reminded of what you got into it to begin with, and then prevent the burnout because you're talking with a mentor. So I'm so glad to hear that you have a really supportive network. And I felt like the workshop that we did was very welcoming. There weren't a lot of naysayers in the room. They were like, yes, we know we have vicarious
Yeah.
trauma. We just don't know what to do with it.
Yep.
So that was really great to give them some tools. So for you, are you working on any projects or daily experiences that intersects with your vicarious trauma? Any research or the latest and greatest? I know that you're like in and out of the academic space. What would you want to share with us about it?
So right now, I have not been working on anything when it comes specifically to that.
Mhm.
As I mentioned before, and I think I'm glad that you're doing this because it brings it to the forefront
Mm,
of of like the work I want to do in the future is really try to prepare students.
yeah.
I'm sure they hear that nursing is a hard field to be in and it's a lot of work and you go through a lot with patients. But I really don't think they understand, and I don't know if they have a safe space to currently process all that. They might see stuff in their clinicals. I'm not sure. I'm not part of like their clinical education
Right.
piece. But at least try to prepare them of what they're going to experience because they will experience it no matter where they are. They
Right.
could be working ER, they could be working, with children. They're gonna come across days that are gonna be very mentally hard and straight, and they deal with it's literally life or death that they're dealing with. So they have heavy stuff that they have to grapple.
Mhm.
And then it's okay to feel like, and then they come into a place where they are not kind of like allowed to feel something to really think about that. I think this younger generation does a good job with not staying where they're not safe.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like our generation, we were taught to be loyal to
Mm,
where we are, our positions, our jobs.
yeah.
And so it makes it that much harder to leave when we know it is like a detriment to like our mental health.
Hmm.
So.
Well, I also picked up when you started talking, it sounds like you have a passion project that you have put on the back burner for a little
Hmm.
bit. So maybe this is a little reminder and a nudge to
Yeah.
say, Crystalyn, don't forget
It,
about what you want to do
no, for sure
while you're
it is.
serving others,
Yeah.
because that'll rejuvenate you too to have that stamina. Um, so when we finish, I always ask the audience members, what is one word or one phrase that you can spill the beans with me today? What, as my participant, would you say?
I would say always put yourself first. I don't mean that selfishly, but just make sure you're good,
Mm-hmm.
um, so that you can take care of others.
Self first.
Yep, self first.
I love that. Thank you for joining me today. I
Of course.
appreciate you.
No problem.
And so, for everyone else, I will be publishing another episode soon, but you heard it here. Putting yourself first is really, really important for today's message. Thank you for joining us on Spill the Beans with Dr. Jill. Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Jill again. I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about compassion satisfaction. As you hear in this video, we're talking about how to increase compassion satisfaction and how to decrease your burnout. And I thought it would be really helpful to give you some context about that. So, Dr. Stam taught us that compassion satisfaction is the pleasure that we receive from doing your job and doing your job well. You may feel positive about your colleagues and contribute to the work that you're doing in society and bigger picture and the greater good for society. So, one of the things I talk about is this idea of mentorship. And what does that look like? Well, when we have a mentee, this is someone that might want to be you one day. Believe it or not, there are people who want to do your job. And that's because they see you doing it so well and they see a role model in you. And it's really important that you stay connected with those mentees because as you're sharing what made you fall in love with your job, not only are you inspiring the next generation behind you, but it does fill your cup full of joy. Now, the mentorship, on the other hand, it helps to reduce for your burnout because you're sharing with them in an authentic way and you're not giving vicarious trauma to other individuals. Because again, the vicarious trauma is only going to happen to the practitioner that is invested in the victim or the person that experienced the trauma. Okay. So don't be worried about that. Your mentor, unless they're familiar with the cases intimately, like they dealt with the case with you, they're not going to be invested in anyone but you. Some other rules of thumb that I've learned throughout my tenure and my research is supervisors really don't serve in a mentor capacity. Like you can have elements of a supervisor that you mentor, like you want to be like, but to be a true mentor, they can't have any authority over you so that you could be your authentic self. And the other thing that I learned is that it's really important that you keep your mentors updated with, holiday greetings or emails every now and again so that they know where you are in your journey because you never know when you're going to need to tap onto them. So that's my little info for today's series. I hope that it's helpful. I hope that these episodes are bringing you information that you might not have heard before or you need to hear at this point in time. But stay tuned for our next episode.